Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something truly mind-bending. We're searching for what you might call the divine off switch, unpacking an incredible 600-year-old paradox. You see, we're looking at a scenario that modern science considers an absolute finality, a total dead end. But we're going to explore a completely different, meticulously documented ancient blueprint that says, no, actually, there's another way. So let's jump right in and set the stage for what is arguably the most fascinating survival guide ever written. So here's the core mystery we're tackling today. When we think about global nuclear war, the modern assumption is mutually assured destruction, right? A catastrophic event that just wipes out all of humanity with absolutely zero exceptions. But what if there was an off switch? What if the most destructive physical forces ever unleashed on Earth could somehow be halted, leaving a very specific, carefully selected portion of humanity completely alive and intact? It sounds impossible. I mean, how could a nuclear apocalypse possibly end without bringing about total human extinction? Well, according to the Bhavishya Malika, this isn't just some wild possibility, it's a certainty. The Bhavishya Malika is a sacred collection of Odia scriptures composed over 6 centuries ago by the Panchasaka. These were 5 great saint poets of Odisha. And these texts are revered not as human inventions or folklore, but as the direct, divine voice of the supreme Lord Jagannath himself. Bhavishya Malika provides a highly precise scriptural blueprint detailing exactly how the coming global war will unfold, and crucially, exactly how it's going to be stopped. There's this stark, almost unbelievable contrast between modern science and these ancient texts. On one side, we have modern physics predicting total, indiscriminate annihilation. A nuclear blast doesn't care who you are, right? But on the exact opposite side, Bhavishya Malika describes something entirely different, engineered survival. The scripture states that the Third World War will indeed involve nuclear weapons extensively, but the destruction won't be a blind total wipeout. Instead, it's going to be a highly discriminating, carefully managed event. To really grasp how this works, we need to break down 3 crucial Sanskrit terms used in the text, so we're all on the same page. First is Pralaya, which simply means dissolution or destruction. Then we have Maha, meaning total or complete. So a Maha Pralaya would be the total deletion of all creation, the end of everything. But Bhavishya Malika explicitly states that what we are facing is a Khanda Pralaya. Khanda means partial. So the big takeaway here is that we are looking at a partial reset of the Earth, not a total global extinction. It is a highly targeted cleansing. Let's look at the exact words from the scripture. Bhavishya Malika states, "The supreme power in the form of time, or Kala, will bring about a partial dissolution and destroy the world." This brilliantly illustrates that the impending devastation, whether we're talking about water, wind, massive earthquakes, or nuclear war, is actually a meticulously targeted purge. It's an intentional clearing of the board directed by divine timing, specifically designed to spare a remnant of humanity. Okay, but stop and think about this for a second, because this brings us to a massive logical cliffhanger. If the weapons being used are nuclear, how in the world does the blast discriminate? Modern physics tells us a shockwave destroys the righteous and the wicked equally. It obliterates everything in its path. So how does the impossible physics of a discriminating apocalypse actually function according to this 600-year-old text? Well, Bhavishya Malika actually gives us the divine mechanics behind this precision. It is the Sudarshan Chakra. This is the ultimate divine weapon of Lord Mahavishnu, and it's wielded in this era by Lord Kalki, the 10th and final avatar. The scripture describes Lord Kalki wielding a 12-handed sword, actively engaging in the reestablishment of righteousness. This divine force acts as the ultimate off switch we've been talking about. And here's the kicker. It doesn't target map coordinates or cities or physical geography. It targets human conduct. Lord Kalki will literally prevent the total annihilation of the earth by neutralizing the threat against the innocent. So who exactly is the target of this divine weapon? Bhavishya Malika uses the term mlecha. Now, it is absolutely vital we understand this term in plain English. A mlecha is not defined by their nation, their race, their religion, or what passport they hold. According to the text, a mlecha is defined purely by an immoral way of living. It refers to those who have surpassed all limits of immorality. We're talking about living with extreme ego, engaging in blatant cruelty, consuming non-vegetarian food, and completely losing themselves in intoxication. The true threat, therefore, is spiritual conduct, not physical geography. And we can see this explicitly recorded right in the ancient text. A transliterated verse directly from the Malika reads, Mlecha marunire, samhara hoeba, mina shane ra pramana. Bhavishya Malika states precisely that this destruction, This wiping out of the mlecha conduct will occur during a very specific celestial window known as the Mina Shani Yoga. The text doesn't guess, it doesn't give a vague prediction. It provides exact astrological timing for when this targeted purge of immorality is going to take place. Which leads us to the ultimate survival metric. I know you've been wondering, what's the actual number? Well, according to Bhavishya Malika, exactly 64 crore, or 640 million people globally, will survive this Khanda Pralaya. Out of a global population of over 8 billion people today, 640 million individuals will successfully pass through this unprecedented bottleneck to witness the new era. And when we break down those 64 crore survivors, it builds a really fascinating picture of global survival. Out of that total number, Bhavishya Malika dictates that 33 crore, or 330 million, will be within India, and 31 crore, or 310 million, will survive in the rest of the world. This brilliantly illustrates our earlier point. Survival is absolutely not limited by geographic borders. Almost half of the entire surviving population is spread across the rest of the globe, proving once again that the divine off switch recognizes righteous living no matter where you happen to be standing. Because of this, we really have to rethink how we prepare. Modern society's answer to global war is always physical geography, right? Digging multi-million-dollar underground bunkers or fleeing to some remote island. But Bhavishya Malika warns that geography is gonna fail. The text literally describes mountains turning into rivers and massive shifts in the Earth's axis. Your bunker isn't going to save you. The only true zone of protection against the Sudarshan Chakra is the shield of Dharma, righteous conduct. So the single most important question for us right now is this: how do you step inside this zone of protection? How do you ensure you're actually counted among that 640 million? Well, what is truly inspiring about Bhavishya Malika's teachings is that entry into this protected zone has absolutely zero financial cost. You literally cannot buy your way in, but anyone, anywhere, can choose to walk right in today. Bhavishya Malika dictates 4 specific, zero-cost requirements for survival. Number 1, adopt Dharma. That means living a life of truth, compassion, forgiveness, and purity. Number 2, begin the practice of Trikal Sanja. Number 3, and this is just as vital, read the Srimad Bhagavat. And finally, number 4, take up the chanting of the Madhavanama, the divine name of the Lord. These are the exact actionable steps laid out in this 600-year-old blueprint. Let's break down step 2 for a second, because it is highly specific. Trikal Sanja, in plain English, refers to 3 daily prayer windows. You do it at dawn, before sunrise, at midday, and at dusk right before sunset. Bhavishya Malika explains that skipping these daily prayers essentially leaves a person spiritually unprotected. But practicing them with a focused mind actively burns away sins and literally surrounds the practitioner with a shield of divine radiance. Now, the scriptures do warn that during the peak of this Khanda Pralaya, immense hardship is going to hit. Bhavishya Malika describes a time coming when villages will be left with maybe only 2 to 4 people, and basic food and water will be incredibly scarce. In those moments, your bank account means absolutely nothing. The power of devotion, specifically reciting the Srimad Bhagavat and chanting the Madhavanama, will be humanity's only sustaining wealth. The text promises it will literally sustain life, free the soul from sin, and invite Lord Kalki's direct personal protection. And crucially, we have to acknowledge the incredible organizations and researchers, like Pandit Kashinath Mishra and the Biswa Sanatan Dharma Seva Trust, who have spent decades studying, translating, and safeguarding this Malika Shastra for the modern era. They didn't invent these teachings. They have meticulously preserved them, translating them from Odia into multiple languages. They've done this so that the entire world has access to this ultimate survival guide right when we need it the most. And why do we need it? Well, it's definitely not to live in fear. It's to cross the bridge into something absolutely incredible. Bhavishya Malika focuses heavily on what comes after the destruction. You see, the entire purpose of this partial reset is to usher in the dawn of the Satya Yuga, a 2032 golden era of supreme peace, truth, and spiritual elevation. These prophecies aren't a doomsday sentence. They are a beacon of immense hope, promising a beautiful, fully restored world for those who align themselves with Dharma. Which brings us to our final thought. The blueprint is laid out right in front of us. The mechanics of the divine off-switch have been completely explained. The destruction targets the immoral conduct of the mlecha, while the shield of Dharma, the practice of Trikal Sandhya, reading the Srimad Bhagavat, and chanting the Madhavanama offer absolute, zero-cost protection. According to Bhavishya Malika, the choice is entirely in our hands right now. So, will you choose to adopt the shield of Dharma, step inside that zone of protection, and witness the incredible dawn of the new golden era? The path is open to everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer.